Hi everyone, it's JimClassic again, and you're watching Geekin' It's Geektober. Yeah, I came up with the name after I had filmed the Metroid video and just decided to add it in during editing, so, it's Geektober. Though I'm sure if you hashtag it, I'm not the only one that's come up with it. But, whatever, I still like it. Do you like zombies? Sure, we all do. The dead reanimated to hunt and eat the living. It must be some kind of a primal fear for a lot of people because it's just such a frightening concept, and you just see so many zombie stories and zombie movies and stuff, and zombies. Yeah, they're just terrifying. But you know what could be even more terrifying? A robot zombie. That's right, Terrorcon Cliffjumper, the second zombie Transformer, I think. Dark Scorponok from the Transformers Cybertron series was the first, and that was like 10 years ago, and I don't really have that toy. So this is the only zombie Transformer that I have, and again, one of the few. In the first episode of Transformers Prime, in the first 5 minutes of the episode, Cliffjumper, the Autobot brawler, lost his life at the hands of Starscream after fighting off a gang of Decepticons by himself. This was probably the most epic moment of any Cliffjumper throughout any of the Transformers' various universes. 5 minutes after he was introduced, Cliffjumper was already killed off. Strangely enough, that wasn't the end of his story. Upon Megatron's return, he desecrated Cliffjumper's corpse by stabbing it with a mysterious element, a magenta-colored crystal known as Dark Energon, supposedly the lifeblood of Unicron himself. And for those of you who know Transformers, Unicron is the robot devil. So that is what the dead body of Cliffjumper was suddenly infused with. At that moment, Cliffjumper was reanimated as a mindless, vicious robot zombie. But enough talking. Let's talk about the toy, which would involve more talking. So, let us continue with the talking. This burly brawler zombie bot is a repaint of, well, living Cliffjumper, reusing the first edition mold for the third time, I think. Strangely enough, all 3 times this mold has been used, it's been Cliffjumper. Usually, when Hasbro reuses a mold, they slap a different head on it and paint him differently and make him a completely different character, but no. All 3 versions of this particular mold have been Cliffjumper, which I guess is also kind of pretty unusual. But the difference here is that this Cliffjumper has painted on battle damage apps throughout the body and on the back, and the head sculpt is just this ripped apart, battle damage, like skull-like, just, a horrible mess of a face. To just hammer it at home that this Cliffjumper is dead. This Cliffjumper is pretty sweet, with the broad chest, the large shoulders and big arms, stumpy, dwarven-like legs. This robo-zombie is made for fighting and mauling and just beating. I do love the head sculpt for Terrorcon Cliffjumper. It looks really gnarly and cool, and I love how the horn is broken off and just how one of the eyes is just kind of missing. And it looks really awesome. The paint apps, the battle damage paint apps throughout the toy do add something to this toy, but personally, I would like to see sculpted on detail, though that was probably a money decision on Hasbro's part. But in my opinion, painted on battle damage, well, does look kind of cheap in my opinion. The only remaining difference of this toy compared to the other 2 Cliffjumpers of this mold are the purple tinted windows that are on the body. It is keeping in with the theme that the Dark Energon is surging through Terrorcon Cliffjumper's rusted remains. Zombies have no real use for weapons. Being the fact that they are unstoppable killing machines kind of makes them their own weapon. But Terrorcon Cliffjumper still has the same fold-out guns that the other two previous versions of this mold have. So, just with one arm here, you fold open this arm, you twist the wrist, and then you flip it out like that, close the arm, and he has the triple-barreled gun blaster. The same arm has the exact same feature, and it looks really cool. Though, again, for a zombie, having this gun is kind of superfluous, but it is still there. However, it does kind of add a little asymmetry if you keep one of the guns out and the other hand out. So maybe it looks like Zombie Cliffjumper lost his hand, and, it could add to that. So, I'm not complaining. It looks cool. The robot mode, it does stand well. It has a lot of points of articulation from the shoulder to the elbow to the head. It does have a little bit of a waist swivel, but though you have to kind of unhook the belt line a little bit. Knees and feet and a little bit of a foot tilt going on there. So there's a lot of points of articulation for your zombie shuffling action. But however, Terrorcon Cliffjumper is still a transformer. So there is still one other part of this toy that I have to show you. It's a zombie car! Transforming Terrorcon Cliffjumper is kind of a scary experience, and not in the, oh my god, adrenaline rush kind of scary. I mean as in an, oh my god, I'm gonna break it kind of scary. This mold has a lot of moving parts, heralding back to the days when Transformers toys were just a little bit more complicated than they are now, which was the entire point of the first edition line of toys anyway. This was kind of Hasbro's last hurrah at complicated transformation. However, it also coincides around the time that Hasbro kind of slacked off on quality control, so, it's kind of a tenuous situation where it's like, it's complicated, but also the parts are semi-shoddy, so you run the risk of breaking this toy. And actually, I did. A year ago, I broke this toy. This front grille snapped off of the hinge, which is attached to the hood, and yeah, it just kind of effortlessly snapped off one time. And I had to glue it back. You might not be able to see it too well, but I had to glue it back. And it's the one part which I don't fold down during transformation into robot mode. So, his butt flap, if you had noticed when I turned him around in robot mode, the butt flap, the horns were still sticking out. So, that's the reason. It's glued on there now. It's a permanent fixture to the hood. So, I'm disappointed by that, but at the same time, Terrorcon Cliffjumper is is a robot zombie, and I'm not going to be transforming him that often, so it's, disappointing, but I've accepted it and moved on. To the vehicle mode itself, just like the other two versions of this Cliffjumper mold, it's a muscle car, and it's still pretty badass. I really do like this vehicle mold a lot. It's just a really cool muscle car. I love the horns in the front. I love the front grille. It even has even the headlights are purple now, just like the tinted windshield. And you can still see plenty of the battle damage. It's on the hood. It's on the roof. It's on the hood. And it's on the right there on the side. So you still see all the battle damages. So it's still an unholy abomination, I guess, but it looks really cool. I love this vehicle mode. even though it may be as superfluous as the guns. But I'm not really complaining about the guns or the vehicle mode being unnecessary. I really like this toy, and it's so cool to have an undead zombie bot amongst my TF Prime Decepticons. The toy does feel solid in both robot mode and vehicle mode. However, as I said, the transformation does make me feel pretty nervous that something else will break on this toy. That being said, if you happen to find Terrorcon Cliffjumper and you decide to add him to your collection, just be careful with him. And I think that's all I have to say about this toy. It's pretty darn cool, but it might break on you one day. I'm JimClassic, and you are watching Geektober.